Okay, so the next content point that I would like to discuss right now is the content point where my student was supposed to address the second bullet point here. So the second bullet point was about how she turned her pain into strength. So the student has already done that. So next, mom turned her pain into strength by marching, in a human rights protest. So initially, he wanted to stop here, but looking back at the text, there can somehow be an additional content there, whereby he could somehow mention that, in spite of having death threats, the mom still marched in a human rights protest. So there are two sentences here in the text. She announced she would march and then she went ahead in spite of death threats. What we can do for our summary is we can somehow combine those two contents. So the sentence would turn out to be like this. Next, mom turned her pain into strength by marching in a human rights protest despite receiving death threats. So the difference is that in the text, the phrase was in spite of death threats. But since we use despite here, we added the verb receiving and then we added ing for receiving because despite here is a preposition. So despite receiving death threats. So from here we have been able to like summarize the two sentences and made it into one sentence. Okay, next content point is she became the president of the Screen Actors Guild. Again, what the student initially wanted to do was he wanted to stop at the word guild here. But what we did was we removed the full stop and we added "and" there to make it into a compound sentence. So now it becomes a compound sentence with the addition of the word "and." And then the initial sentence was when the medicine started to control her disease. So it came from the text. When the medicine started to control her symptoms here. Okay, so the paraphrasing that we did was when the medicine, so started, we change it to the word began to show healing effects. So it's similar to control her disease. So it's not to say that the student is wrong, but it's just practicing paraphrasing techniques. So controlling her disease was changed to show healing effects. She went to become a forthright advocate. So this was done by my student, whereby the word outspoken from the text was changed to forthright advocate. Outspoken advocate, forthright advocate. So if we were to check, as long as the meaning is similar, it wouldn't be a problem. Because the rule is that we do not change the definition in any way. So here it says that forthright and outspoken has the same meaning, so the student is not wrong. Okay, forthright advocate. Okay, the only problem that he did just now was he used the preposition in mentally ill. So what he wanted to say was the woman became an advocate for the mentally ill, but he wrongly put the preposition in. So there I had to make some changes. So it's supposed to be he became a forthright advocate for the mentally ill instead of in the mentally ill, because she's speaking for those people as a almost like an ambassador or an advocate lah, a person who supports a certain cause. So here we do not change it to became, but it remains become because we have the preposition to in front of it. So become is correct.